Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my review of Kingsman, The Golden Circle. The first Kingsman film kind of came out of nowhere and became a huge fan favorite upon its release. Personally, I had fun with the film overall, but I did have quite a few problems with it. However, the trailers for this sequel looked pretty awesome and like a whole lot of fun. So I was pretty excited to go ahead and see this film. The end results? It was okay. So let's go ahead and first start off with those positives. The cast in this film is all really good. Taron Egerton is great at Eggsy. He's so charismatic, he's so believable in the role, and he just draws you to him. And that's what you want in the lead for a film like this, is a magnetic personality that keeps you interested in his storyline throughout. Colin Firth was very good in this film. Channing Tatum was good. Jeff Bridges did his Jeff Bridges thing. Halle Berry I really enjoyed. And then we had Mark Strong, who was also very good. And then we had Julianne Moore, who was okay. I'm not going to fully put her on the positives, but she's also not a negative here. I think her acting was on point with what they wanted from her. It's more the writing of her character that I had a problem with. And when this movie is fun, it's really fun. There are several action sequences in this film that I thought were inventive and just a blast, honestly. There's a ski lift sequence that was one of my favorite moments of the entire film. I thought it was really cool. And then the kind of final ultimate battle that takes place is a lot of fun. That final battle is definitely when this film was like at its peak for me. It had the music, it had the setting, it just everything about it was awesome. So fun, so creative, and a really good action set piece. And speaking of fun and music, Elton John was so good. I loved his cameo role in this film. He was fully on board for whatever they asked him to do. And I loved every moment Elton John was on the screen. This film also has a lot to say politically that is really fun and smart. It made it very clear the filmmaker's standpoint when it came to things like the war on drugs, as well as just the political climate of right now and how crazy it is and how easy it is to manipulate the American people, as well as manipulate the political system itself these days. But it also showed how politics get in the way of helping people, of doing what's right. And the filmmaker's opinions on personal convictions standing in the way of actually helping people as well. So I thought that was all done very, very well. And blatant enough to get the point across, but it doesn't like smash you over the head with it. As for the negatives in the film, there are unfortunately quite a few of them. To start, the movie is just too long. This film stretches out to almost 2.5 hours, and there's no need for that type of runtime. There's just so much filler in here that not only could they have gotten rid of, they should have gotten rid of a lot of it. The film also falls into a lot of the like stereotypical pitfalls, and not ironically either. I know that especially the first one was kind of a spin and spoof on a James Bond film. This one falls into those type of tropes just for the sake of the plot needed it, or the action needed it. Right off the bat, in a first car chase sequence, our protagonist is like hanging out the side of the car or behind the car, clearly visible and an open shot with no one else in the way, and we have enemy cars behind, but they just kind of like ride along until suddenly it becomes very advantageous for them to have guns. So I was like, really? You didn't think to pull out your guns and start shooting, 5 minutes ago? But a lot of those action trope type of conveniences are added in here fairly frequently. In addition, a big problem I had with the first one is, if not overtly sexist, it was very tone deaf to gender in the first film. This one course corrects a tiny bit, but still seems very tone deaf. First of all, I'm almost positive it doesn't pass the Bechdel test. I don't even think we have two females in the same room at the same time. And, I mean, that bar is so low these days that I'm kind of stunned that movies aren't able to pass it frequently. But more so than that, it's the characterization of the females in this film. Plenty of films have great female characters that aren't able to pass that Bechdel test. And this film just doesn't. They're relegated to girlfriends and they're relegated to sex objects like they were in that first film. And we even had a joke harkening back to like one of the most cringe-worthy, like gross sexist moments in that first movie. There is a small subplot with Halle Berry, and I think she was by far the best female character, in addition to kind of Julianne Moore, because she was our main villain, but I have a problem with that too. But really, the women just kind of were there, with nothing important to do or say. If you had just taken them all out, the story wouldn't have been affected all that much. And then speaking of our female villain, her motivation was just crazy. Like, the fact that they decided to go through with this, like, generalized motivation was insane. And the fact that the solution to this motivation was so simple was even more insane. Really, what I want to say here is that Julianne Moore as the villain, first, what really did she do? And then second, she's only kind of our main villain. The government is a main villain. We have some others who come in and have a better fight sequence with the protagonist than Julianne Moore does, certainly. And in the end, it all just kind of like comes down to a thud. And it was super disappointing to me. Though what happens is kind of smart. It was just like, oh, well, this seems anticlimactic, to say the least. So I was kind of just disappointed in the villain and the way she was written, from her motives to the solution to her motives and the end goal on what she was doing here, to the end of her storyline in the film. It just kind of was like, oh, this whole thing was so solvable that it all seemed kind of pointless to sit through. And then to make up for such a simple, easy to fix main plot of the film with the villain, they added in all of these sub-stories to take up time. Again, that just stretched out our runtime. Didn't add all that much character development. There's an amnesia subplot. There is a proposal subplot. There is the more important subplot of the Kingsman and the Statesman kind of like coming together and trying to work together. There are just so many subplots in the background that we really don't care about. And then my final negative is some of the visuals didn't look so good. Our filmmakers like went ultimate Matthew Vaughn here with the like super stylized slow-mo computer generated action that takes place. And the first one had that super stylized like slow-mo feel to it pretty often. But oh, it did it so much better than this movie does. It was very clearly CGI most all of the time. And then we added in robotics that didn't look that great. People that were animated that didn't look very good. Yeah, most of the CGI didn't look so good. So overall, Kingsman: The Golden Circle is a perfectly alright time-passing action film. It is very much serviceable. As a film, you go in on a matinee, you have nothing else to do, you want to just kind of like chill out, turn your brain off, sit in a dark theater, and watch something fun. The Kingsman will suffice. But if you're looking for anything more than that, if you're looking for something deeper, if you're looking on improvement from the first one, you're going to be very, very disappointed. So my ultimate rating on this is going to be a rental. I don't think you need to pay theater prices to see this one. You have a good time watching it at home for $1.50 or so. So, that has been my review of Kingsman: The Golden Circle. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below, and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see Kingsman: The Golden Circle? Have you already seen it? If you have, let me know what you thought. And what is your favorite riff on James Bond? Let me know either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!